Hello everyone, Eric's over here and welcome to my tutorial on computational science. In this video we're going to be looking at operators in C++. This is going to be a quick video and I've just pre-written my code because I think everything is very self-explanatory. As with most C++ programs, you can see here that we are starting by including our IO stream. Remember, this is used for the output that we're using. Then we are using the standard namespace. If you don't use a standard namespace, remember, you just have to put std : in front of your standard namespace operators. We'll look at that a little bit more later. For now, I think it's easier to just not think about that. Alright, in this program, when we look at it and what's going on, you can see that we have three variables, x, y, and z. I am using the auto variable initialization. That means that x, y, and z will all be initialized as integers. If we want to create a floating point variable with this, we can say something like auto f equals 23.0. And that's just a very quick way to initialize it as a floating point number. Now this would be a double precision floating point number. If you would like a single precision, you can put a capital F or a lowercase f after the number. I'm not going to use, well, I guess I will use floats here. So we'll do auto f equals, I'll just say 23.0, and I'm going to say auto g equals 3.0. I'm going to just look at one specific example. Now operators work as we're used to. X plus y is simply x plus y, and x minus y is x minus y. For multiplication, we use a star or asterisk. For division, now x divided by y is just the /. However, if we have integers for inputs like x and y, it is going to do integer division. That means it's going to round down to the smallest whole number. All right, so it's going to find the smallest whole number less than or equal to the solution. If we want to do floating point division, we can just do something like cout. I'm just going to do f over g equals f over g. This is floating point division. So if we have floating point input, then it's going to do floating point division for us. Otherwise, what we can do is if we specify, we can do something called casting, and we can cast a variable to a double, and then we would get floating point division. But that's a topic I think for later. Finally, the last operator, we're using the modulus operator. X, then that percent symbol y, is looking at the remainder after division. So here we're using the remainder after division. And this will only work with integers. If you try to do it with a floating point number, it will not work. You'll get an error and it's not defined. So these are the basic mathematical operators. I think they're straightforward for anyone who's ever fiddled with calculators or very simple programming tasks. All right, next we're looking at string variables. Now in C++, when we put characters in between the double quotes, it's actually not a string, it's something called a character array. And character arrays are a little bit difficult to work with. The string object is a lot easier to work with than a character array. So instead of using a string object, or instead of using the character array, we're just going to create string objects. Here you can see auto s is going to create an automatic variable, and it's going to automatically figure out the type. And here we're going to say string followed by parentheses. So we're going to create a string object, and we're going to initialize the string object with the inputted character array. And from the character array, C++ is going to figure out how to make the string. It's very smart that way. So we're going to make our strings s and ss. And from there, we can also use the addition operator to concatenate the strings. So we can put the two strings together using plus. I do want to point out that in Python, we do have this ability to multiply a string by an integer. However, we cannot do that in C++. It only works in Python. All right, so we're almost to the end here. Looking at Boolean operators, we do have to be a little careful here. If we want to say x is less than y, we're doing a check to see is this true or not. Now, because of the way that this is done, and our cout, we do have to put it inside parentheses. And parentheses work just like in math class, where the parentheses tell you what operation to do first. And that means x less than y is going to be evaluated first, and then it's going to be printed to the screen. Otherwise, there's a little bit of a conflict with this double less than that's being used for the cout function. So there's this operator precedence of what's being done first, and we just need the parentheses to make sure that x less than y is done before the double less than. And the double less than, it has a complicated name. It's called a bit shift operator, but that really has nothing to do with what it's doing with cout. But we can do less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. And then if we want to check if x or y are equal, we have to use a double equal sign to check if they're equal. And I'm going to give you some caution that we want to use a double equal and not a single equal. The single equal is called an assignment operator. You're taking whatever value is on the right-hand side and assigning it to what is on the left-hand side. All right, the next one here we're going to check is x, is x not equal to y? So this is usually going to be true in a lot of cases. In fact, with our current case, x equal y, they are different. We can see up here, x is 23, y is 3. So x not equal to y will be true, and x equal y is going to be false. We can also use and or. So and is going to look at the first half and say, okay, is x not equal to y? Yep, that is true. But the second part is false because x equals z is false. And with an AND operator, if either side is false, the whole thing is false. Now in C++, we can either use the keyword AND, or we can use a double ampersand, or the double AND symbol. For OR, there is an OR keyword we can use. Otherwise, we can use, I don't know what to call this. I usually call it the bar. And it's right above the backslash. And with this double bar, that's our way that we do the OR in C++. It's usually just above your enter or return key, and I use my right pinky finger to hit it, and it requires a little bit of a shift. So this double vertical line is the way that we can type an OR in C++. All right, so this is just a very quick introduction to the common operators in C++. I hope this is useful. If you know the operators from Python, everything here should be very natural and straightforward. Yeah, so thank you for watching the video, and keep on coding.